Just got a screencast here for you of our word wall, all the different terms we have for this unit in the Cold War. The first one that we have here is perspectives, point of view. The idea that in the Cold War, the United States and Russia would view the same event from different perspectives and the same issue in different ways. And the image here we have is this kind of a cup, a plate, something like that, or is it faces? It kind of depends on you as to what you see. And this would be true in the Cold War, where depending on what your perspective was, depending on which nation you were from, you would view events differently. Communism is obviously the economic system of the Soviet Union. We've got a simple definition here, a type of government and economic system where individual people do not own land, factories, or machinery. The government does. Kind of anti individualism or anti private property. And as a result, we have these paper dolls that all kind of look the same. The idea that in communism, people would have the same amount of wealth, same access to private property, this idea of forced equality. For our next term, it's capitalism, system for dealing with money and wealth, and a capitalist country citizens, not governments, own and run companies, pro-individual. The idea that there would be differing levels of wealth, more choice, more opportunity in a capitalist system for the most part. And our symbol for that are fingerprints, because fingerprints are individual. Everyone has a different fingerprint, and no two are exactly alike. Our next term is democracy. This is the United States form of government, ruled by the people. The name is used for different forms of government where people can take part in decisions that affect the way the community is run. And so in the Cold War, we are obviously running a democracy, allowing people to have a say. Totalitarianism is the Soviet style of government at this time, relating to a government where the ruler or ruling group has complete control, kind of the hand here as a puppet master, controlling the people. Especially under Stalin, Russia is considered a totalitarian regime. Easy way to remember what totalitarian means is look at the root word, total, and the idea of total control of the people. Our next term is really what the Cold War was, not a hot war, but a rivalry, active competing for the same thing against another person or group, proving you're better in almost every different way except for fighting. An example of the rivalry we have here, Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears, two cities, two teams competing with each other, both trying to prove that they are better. Hysteria. This is a state in which your emotions, such as fear, are so strong you behave in an uncontrolled way. What we'll learn in this unit is that the fear of communist influence, the fear of communist attack, would cause people to become hysterical and do things that we might now consider irrational or dangerous, or do things that we might just consider foolish. Building of bomb shelters, fear of their neighbors, fear of Soviet takeover, leading them to accuse other people of being spies. This is hysteria, that uncontrolled fear. McCarthyism. This describes some of the hysteria, named after Senator Joseph McCarthy from Wisconsin, by the way, who believed that there were communists that had infiltrated the US government and tried to convince people of that, creating a period known as the McCarthy era and created hysteria against communism, sometimes known as the Red Scare, red being the color of communists and the fear of communists in the United States. Our next term is hot war. This is the traditional war that we've studied, like World War II, where you have active military hostilities, where each side is fighting the other, usually on some kind of battlefield in some kind of war. Cold War is what we're studying. This is the period of extreme tension between the rivals of the United States and the Soviet Union. This is that rivalry where there won't really be active fighting, but both sides will compete. And one of the ways they will compete is to create and stockpile the most powerful weapons to try to outdo each other through a nuclear arsenal. Containment. This will be the U.S. strategy throughout the Cold War. The action or policy of preventing the expansion of a hostile country or influence. Both sides in the Cold War, U.S. and USSR, will try to stop the other from expanding, taking more territory and resources, or gaining new allies. And so we'll see wars in Vietnam and in Korea, with the goal of the U.S. trying to stop communism from spreading, contain it where it is. Red Scare, which I mentioned before. This is the fear or hysteria in the United States of communism end communist activity. With the Soviet Union becoming a superpower, people feared that communism would spread or that American citizens might be spying for the Soviets. And here's kind of a propaganda poster with that message. Atomic bomb. The weapons during the Cold War would be massive. This is the kind of bomb that would have been dropped on Hiroshima or Nagasaki. A bomb that splits atoms to achieve the same explosion as 15,000 tons of TNT, and that's 2,000 pounds per ton. Crazy amount. Like I said, it's the bomb that ended the war in Japan. The hydrogen bomb would be developed during the Cold War, much more powerful. The Soviets created a bomb called the Tsar Bomba, most powerful weapon ever created. Flexible response would be the US strategy for fighting the Cold War, where we're trying not to use atomic or nuclear weapons because we're afraid of nuclear war. So, President Kennedy, in particular, would use all kinds of different strategies to diffuse or de escalate situations and avoid using the weapons that we had created. Assassination. Near the end of this unit, we will look at the assassination of John F. Kennedy. An assassination is an important person, or excuse me, the murder of an important person in a surprise attack for political or religious reasons. This is an image here from the sniper's rifle. It's supposed to be in the attack on John F. Kennedy. Just an idea of what it might have looked like. Soviet Union is Russia and their allies and nations that have been taken over by Russia that form one side of the Cold War. Vietnam is one of those conflicts we'll study in the Cold War, which is about stopping the spread of communism from North Vietnam to South Vietnam. China and North Korea will support North Vietnam and communism, while we will support the United States, trying to stop North, or we will support South Vietnam, trying to stop the spread of communism from the North into the South. A lot more on that later in the unit. That's it for the terms for the Cold War. These will be in the classroom throughout the unit. Hopefully, this helped you.